Jai Shri Radhe. Continuing with our readings of the 252 Vaishnavas, disciples of Sri Gosaiji. Today is day 224 and reading Varta 225, the story of a Brahmin couple from the east. The wife was accepted by Sri Govardhanaji with her physical body intact. Kya baat hai ji. Vaprakash. The husband and wife are devotees of Tamasi disposition. In the eternal Leela, the wife's name is Navankuri, who is extremely beautiful. Every single moment her body brings forth fresh sprouts of ever new divine loving sentiment, and thus she captivates Sri Thakurji's heart. Navankuri has one Sakhi named Chanchal, who appears here as the husband. They both manifest from Nanda and thus reflect her divine loving sentiment. Part 1. Once Sri Gosaiji left Gokul to go to have the holy sight of Sri Jagannathji. This is when the couple first caught sight of him. They saw him as the Supreme Lord himself, and that is when these Brahmins supplicated Sri Gosaiji to initiate them with the Lord's name and accept them as his disciples. Sri Gosaiji called the couple close to him and initiated them with the Lord's name. They gave whatever donation they were able to. The next day they fasted, and the following day Sri Gosaiji granted them the Brahma Sambandh initiation. Sri Gosaiji went to partake of Mahaprasad, rinsed his mouth and ate a pan bida. He then fed all his Brajwasi sevaks with Mahaprasad, and the Brahmin couple partook of their Mahaprasad afterwards. They then supplicated Sri Gosaiji, "O Maharaj, please be gracious enough to grant us one Sri Thakurji to serve." Sri Gosaiji did so and taught them all the ways of Seva. Many days passed before Sri Gosaiji left that place and came back to Gokul. The Brahmin couple became accomplished Vaishnavas with his grace. The Brahmin wife had total exclusive faith in Sri Gosaiji. For this reason, Sri Govardhanaji appreciated all the seva that they made to him. He accepted everything that they offered to him. They were very enthusiastic and thorough in all their seva and did everything with their own hands for 12 hours per day. In the night time, they discussed the Lord's pastimes together. Many days passed like this. One day, a group of Vaishnavas decided to travel to Vraja together to go on Vrajayatra. The Brahmin couple joined them on this trip in order to have the holy sight of Srinathji. They arrived in Sri Mataji Dwar after some days. They climbed up the Sri Giriraj mountain to do so. It was time for the evening arti, and there was a huge crowd of people in the temple. The door to Sri Govardhanaji's temple opened, and the couple entered the bejewelled hall. They were able to have the holy sight of Sri Govardhanaji's lotus face, but not clearly. The wife felt very sad, thinking, "I have come here from very far away to have this rare sight. I have come inside the temple too, but I still cannot have a clear vision of my Lord. If I go into this crowd, I might get trampled on. Then what would I do? Therefore, O Lord, please grant me your holy sight on Sri Gosaiji's oath." Hearing this plea from the wife, Sri Govardhanaji came out of his temple and entered the crowd of people. He grabbed the Brahmin's wife and pulled her into his inner sanctum. He sat her down on the altar where he and all the other Vraja devotees for gopis were sitting. He let her have his holy sight as the Lord of all lords. So much did he grace her. Sri Gosaiji was standing in the temple, and he saw and understood everything, but no one else was aware of all these goings-on. She was blessed to have the Lord's holy sight just as she had desired. Afterwards, the temple curtain was pulled close and everybody had to leave. The Brahmin began to look for his wife but could not find her anywhere. He looked and looked until the temple services were completed for that evening. Sri Govardhanaji had taken to rest. Sri Gosaiji's temple servants and cooks and the Vaishnavas all came down from the mountain. Sri Gosaiji sat in his betak. The Brahmin addressed him, "O Maharaj, my wife was extremely beautiful and youthful. Maybe someone from this village has taken her. Please help me to correct this situation. Can you find out what has happened to her? She is a very chaste lady. I have looked everywhere for her, but without success." Sri Gosaiji looked towards his disciple and said, "Wherever she is in the best place for her. Now you need not worry about anything." But the husband thought she must be in the village, and he went to search for her. He searched at the foot of Sri Giriraji in all the forest groves and everywhere else too, but he did not find her. He returned to Sri Gosaiji weeping desperately. He said to Sri Gosaiji, "O Maharaj, I have looked for her all over the place, but I have not found her." Sri Gosaiji took the Brahmin to one side and said, "Your wife is in the best place she can be, so please do not cry and have no worry about her. I will take you to meet her." In this way, Sri Gosaiji tried to comfort the Brahmin, saying, "You have not eaten at all today. Please accept some Mahaprasad. After that, I shall take you to meet her." However, the Brahmin would not stop crying and said, "O Maharaj, I shall neither eat nor drink until I see my wife. She is a greatly graced, accomplished Vaishnava. She serves the Lord all the time and sings his praises at night time, nothing else. Oh, how offensive must I be that I am now alone? How will I carry on? Such association is very rare. I am not weeping for a wife, but for a highly qualified Vaishnava. What will happen to me now? Sri Gosaiji again reassured him, you should not cry. Your wife is now with Sri Govardhanaji. Sri Govardhanaji has taken her as his own. She was struggling to have the holy sight of Sri Govardhanaji because there was such a crowd in the temple, and she was feeling intense separation from him. Sri Govardhanaji himself took hold of her hand and pulled her to his throne, where other Vraja devotees were sitting, and made her to sit with them. Through the oath of grace of Sri Acharyaji, Srinathji let her have the holy sight of his divine form. He himself took her hand. She is now resident in his own divine realm and is with the other Vraja gopis who all reside in his very own place. So she cannot speak to you to tell you this, and no one else could possibly tell you this, for no one else could know it. The Brahmin supplicated, O Maharaj, you have told me that she is in the Lord's own realm. However, this Leela place is beyond the sphere of the physical body, and the holy sight of the Lord's pastimes is not normally visible through the physical body or eyes. I do not grasp your words. How did she reach the Lord's Leela while still in her physical body? Sri Gosaiji explained to him, Sri Govardhanaji took her through his divine power of grace. Bhav Prakash, this tell tells us that the Lord can not do or do otherwise as he pleases, for he is all-powerful and can do as he likes. It is not for us to ever doubt this. Part 1 continued. The Brahmin addressed Sri Gosaiji, O Maharaj, you have explained all this to me, but might I get to see this with my own eyes? Sri Gosaiji told him to first partake of Mahaprasad, after which he would let him meet his wife. The Brahmin again stated, O Maharaj, I will not eat nor drink until I have seen her. Sri Gosaiji held the Brahmin's hand and led him to Parasoli. There, next to Chandra Sarovar, on the Ras Leela platform, he had the holy sight of Sri Govardhanaji. Sri Gosaiji supplicated the Lord, O Maharaj, please let this Brahmin see his wife. Otherwise he will not eat or drink. He has been crying a lot. Srinathji took the Brahmin's hand and took him to an isolated place where all his entourage was sitting. His wife was amongst them, standing near Sri Swaminiji's close Sakhis. He pointed out the Brahmin's wife. He said to the wife, Look, your husband is here. Please do talk to him. The Brahmin said to his wife, Please come with me now. My mind is unsettled and I have not eaten or drunk. Please come with me now. The wife replied, I will not come with you now. I am here together with those to whom I have a previous relationship where I belong. I have no ties nor purpose on the worldly plane. You should go back home. After she had said this, when he looked again, there was nothing to be seen and his wife was not there. There were no Vraja devotees. Sri Gosaiji spoke to the Brahmin, O Brahmin, you should leave here now. There is nothing more for you to do here. Sri Gosaiji returned with him to Jetipura and again confronted him and fed him Mahaprasad. Sri Gosaiji went to take rest. The Brahmin experienced intense pangs of separation and immense cravings for the Lord. His eyes poured with tears. There were some other Vaishnavas sleeping nearby, and they felt his pain, so went to sleep elsewhere. The Brahmin's pain escalated. His life force exited from the 10 doors of his material body, and then he also attained his original divine connection. Bhav Prakash, he attained his own true Leela form. Part 1 continued. The Vaishnavas saw that the Brahmin was dead and went to Sri Gosaiji to tell him, O Maharaj, out of that Brahmin's eyes and mouth exited an intensely hot light which rose up from his head. We felt the heat and had to move away to sleep. Thus his life force exited his body, which is lying here dead. When Sri Gosaiji heard this, the hair on his body stood on end, and he said to the Vaishnavas, Both the wife and the husband have entered the Lord's eternal Leela and are now close to the Lord. There is no longer any devotional hindrance for them. It is extremely rare to find Vaishnavas like this. You will not be rendered impure by performing their last rites. You will only need to bathe afterwards. Sri Gosaiji felt very sad for 3 days until Srinathji comforted him. Sri Gosaiji's heart would brim over with the affection whenever anyone mentioned this couple to him. Bhav Prakash. The moral of this story is that the main practice within this path of grace is the experience of intense separation from the divine love beloveds. If one serves the Lord or goes to have his holy sight with such burning love in their heart, then the Lord will reciprocate them similarly and accept them directly. Therefore, Vaishnava should emulate such emotions of desperate love at all times. Thus concludes Varta 225, the story of the Brahmin couple from the east. The two of them were recipients of Sri Gosaiji's great grace and accomplished Vaishnavas. There is no end to their tale. Aaj ke Anand ki jai ho. Sri Gosaiji ki jai. Sab Vaishnavan ko jai Shri Krishna. Sadar Saprem Sardenya Sananda. Jai Shri Krishna. Jai Jai Shri Radhe.